Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 3rd of November 2023. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to cover a mapping topic and then we are going to solve some questions and we are going to cover some news articles that are important for the UPSC exam. So before we start the discussion, let us quickly see the list of articles that we are going to cover in today's newspaper analysis. So there will be around 10 articles that includes a mapping topic also. So name of the articles along with their relevance, according to the syllabus is mentioned, and also page number from the Hindu newspaper is listed here. So let us start with the mapping topic. Today we have thought of covering the map of Russia. Why map of Russia? Because Russia was in news today and it has been in news for a long time, and we did not focus on seeing the physical geography of Russia or physical map of Russia so far. So that's why it is important that we should know some of the important locations of Russia that will help us to solve a question if a question comes in prelims exam. So over here we can see the map of Russia. This is, let's say, I'll be just drawing the outline map of Russia like this. Okay, so this is the boundary of Russia, I would say, right? So this is, there are some island territories also, so we are going to look into it, right? So largely this is this is part of Russia that we have outlined, right? So this is part of Russia. And if we talk about what are important regions in Russia, first of all, you need to understand about those seas that surround Russia. Seas that are nearby this region. For example, if we talk about this sea, Barents Sea, this is just above Russia. We have White Sea, we have Kara Sea, we have Laptev Sea. So these are some of the seas, right? Seas are important, right? Apart from this, for example, we have this East Siberia Sea. So these are some of the seas, and it is we have the Arctic Ocean to the north of Russia. So as we can see, so this is very near to the North Pole, this region. And if we go little west to it, right, so this is part of Europe. In Europe we have Baltic Sea, we have North Sea, and here these countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland, right, so they remain in news, right? So these are part of Europe. And if we talk about Russia also, in Russia there is a lake that is very famous. It is known as Lake Baikal. Okay, so this is the location of Lake Baikal. This is very important. This lake remains in news and it is important. Apart from this, there is a range of mountain. This is known as Ural Mountain. Okay, so this is the location of Ural Mountains. So Ural or Ural, you can read it anyway. So this is another mountain that remains in news. Apart from this, if we talk about a river, this Volga River. Volga River is in Russia, and it's a very long river that flows through Russia, and finally it flows into the Caspian Sea. We can see over here it flows into the Caspian Sea, Volga River. Apart from this, if we go to the eastern part of Russia, we see a sea which is known as Sea of Okhotsk, and then we have a peninsula. This is known as Kamchatka Peninsula. This peninsula also remains in news. Whenever you read geography, if you read about Russia, so you generally read about this peninsula, Kamchatka Peninsula. Then apart from this, we have Kuril Islands also. So these are a small group of islands. So they are Kuril Islands. They are just north of Japan, right, to the north of Japan. So this is the thing, so in Russia, there are many such important regions. For example, this Yenisei River, okay, this river also remains in news, right? That's the thing. So apart from this, there are many other regions also in Russia. So in your free time, have a look on the map of Russia once again. It will help you to understand about some of the geographical features of Russia. You need to look into let's say this is Siberia region, and there is a village in Russia. This is known as Yakutsk village. This is the village in the world that has recorded the lowest temperature. People reside over here in Yakutsk village. If you have a kind of towel, if you do it like that, so it will become solid. I mean, like, solid in the sense because of ice, means like, it will get frozen. So there are people who have visited in Yakuts also. This region remains important, okay. So that's the thing. I mean, like, I have also seen some blogs of people who have visited there long back during COVID. So that was the thing. So now let us look into first topic. This topic is important. It says the revenge of old West Asia. This is a very important topic. It's important under international relations. It is part of GS paper 2. Name of the topic is the revenge of old West Asia. So we are going to discuss about this topic in detail. The revenge of old West Asia. So before we go into this topic, we need to understand like in which context we are reading this article, right? So to understand the context, let us quickly understand about a map. Okay, this is like we are going to draw a map. So this particular region shows what? Gaza Strip. This particular region shows West Bank. This region shows Israel. The other region inside the yellow thing is it's Israel. But there are countries also that surround Israel. For example, and also like apart from countries, there are this river also, river, or we can see sea, which is like, let me take another color, maybe this color. We have a river, it is, we have a sea, it is Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean Sea. To the west of this, right, to the west of Israel. And here, which country is there? We have Egypt. Over here we have Lebanon. Over here we have Syria. This is Jordan. Like that. So Israel is surrounded by how many countries? It is so over here there is a peninsula also. This peninsula remains in news, right? This peninsula is known as Sinai this like this is a region. This is Golan Heights. Okay, this is known as Golan Heights. Sorry, this is Golan Heights. Okay, this region also remains in news. Now, having understood the map of this region, right, we need to understand that Israel is surrounded by which countries? Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. These are the 4 countries. Apart from this, like on the west of it, we have Mediterranean Sea. Now, the war that we are talking about, right? So, in this article, they have discussed about Israel-Palestine issue. Okay, they have discussed about Israel-Palestine issue or Israel-Hamas. So, we will discuss about this. So, if we talk about the title of the article, it says the revenge of the old West Asia. Title says revenge. Revenge means which group has taken revenge? So the thing is like, initially the revenge was initiated by Hamas this time, right? Hamas. This Hamas is a group. Hamas means Islamic Resistance Movement. Okay, means like Islamic Resistance Movement. Why the resistance is all about? So in this article we are going to discuss some details related to this war that is happening now. Okay, so what Hamas has done, Hamas has conducted an attack on 7th of October 2023 on Israel, right? It has done an attack on Israel on 7th of October. Now, in retaliation to that attack, Israel is now attacking the Gaza Strip. So they want to completely eliminate Hamas, but they are indiscriminately killing human beings also, means like civilians. Around 9,000 civilians have been killed so far, and 40 to 50% of them are children, right? So this is the kind of, let's say, attack that they have done. This is indiscriminate, okay? It is what? Indiscriminate, means they are not following the principle of distinction, okay? So this is an indiscriminate attack that Israel has launched. But the thing is, why did Hamas do it in the first place, right? Who has initiated the warfare? So if we talk about the the thing that led to this warfare that has created this kind of issue between Palestine and Israel, it's because of a declaration which is known as Balfour Declaration. Okay, this declaration is known as Balfour Declaration. What was Balfour Declaration? This declaration was made by the UK's Secretary of State. Okay, UK's Foreign Secretary. So UK's Foreign Secretary. Now we need to understand that long back in 1917, the Foreign Secretary of UK, the UK government has promised the Jews that they would provide a national state for the Jewish people in Palestine. So earlier, it was entirely the Palestine. The entire place was of Palestine. Jewish people came over here as refugees, but they started, let's say, settling down over here, and they started demanding a land. So they have received support from the UK government, the government of United Kingdom, right, where Rishi Sunak is the Prime Minister now. So the UK Foreign Secretary has said that we will help the Jewish people for their state, national state, for that will act as Jewish homeland. So they have promised this homeland in Palestine. So in Palestine, they have talked about there will be a Jewish state and there will be an Arab state. Means those people who were Muslim, they were also reside, and those who were Jewish, they will also reside. So the time period from 1914 to 1948, this time period is known as Mandate period. Okay, this is known as Mandate period. And so in 1948, what happened? In 1948, Israel has declared itself as a state. The moment Israel has declared itself as a state, within 11 minutes, USA has recognized Israel to be a state. USA has given its recognition that Israel is a state. So that was the thing that has happened. But after this, those people who were displaced, they were Palestinian people. They, let's say, wanted to take back their territory. So this has created a kind of rift between the Arab people and the Jewish people. So there have been many instances of war. So in the 1948 to 49, first Arab-Israeli war, Israel has captured 23% more territories, including West Jerusalem, than that of 1947 United Nations partition plan for Palestine. Okay, in 1947, United Nations has talked about a partition plan. For whom? For Palestine. But the thing is, in 1948 to 1949, there was a war. This is known as First Arab War. Okay, this is known as First Arab-Israeli War. First Arab-Israeli War. So what has happened in the First Arab-Israeli War? Israel has occupied 23% more territories, okay, more territories from Palestine than that was mandated under the United Nations partition plan. So that was one thing that was, let's say, it has led to conclusion of the First Arab-Israeli War. Okay, first like Arab-Israeli war. So I have just written first, but like it is first Arab-Israeli war. After then what has happened? There was another war that was fought, and this war is 1967 war. In 1967 also another war was fought between Arab and Israel. So in this thing, it seized the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and Gaza Strip and Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, and Golan Heights from Syria. Means Israel has done so many things in 1967. Okay, in 1967. This is important. Which territory it has taken from which party, right? So we will understand this thing. One thing is like it has seized West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan. West Bank and East Jerusalem. From which party? From Jordan. Yes. Now, second thing is, in the same war, it has, let's say, like captured Gaza Strip and Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. Okay, Gaza Strip and Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. Third, what Israel has done is it has captured Golan Heights from Syria. It has captured Golan Heights from Syria. So the thing is, 1967 war was a war in which Israel has captured more territories from, let's say, not only one party but from 3 different countries in one war. Okay, yes. So that's the thing. So Israel has captured more territories. So the thing is, in 1967 it has happened. Okay, but the thing is, these territories, after then these territories have remained in control of Israel, right? But if we talk about Israeli Prime Minister from time to time, okay, there was an Israeli Prime Minister. His name is Mr. Golda Meir. Okay, Golda Meir. What Golda Meir says, he says there is no concept like Palestine. He says Palestine does not exist. He says Palestine does not exist. This was his point. Apart from this, there is another person. What he says is after, so that person, I mean General Gadi Eisenkot. Okay. So this is Israeli Chief of General Staff. So his name is so I'll write down his name also. It is important. General Gadi Eisenkot. Okay, General Gadi Eisenkot. So he is a kind of army general. Okay, he is not prime minister. He is kind of army general of Israel. Yes. So what he says, he has a different viewpoint related to Israel. Right? He has a different viewpoint. So his narrative is that over here he has said this person has said that Palestine does not exist, and this person has said that these people, I mean people who are in Hamas, people who are in Gaza Strip, these people all are involved in committing the crime. So all of them must be punished together. So this is the viewpoint of the army general. So this is what? This is Israeli stand. Okay, this is the stand of what? This is the stand of Israel. Okay, so I'm going to discuss about this. Now, what is the stand of Israel? Means this is Israel's version. Right? They see this thing. But I mean according to the army general, all the people are involved in doing this crime. But in this article, the author has talked about 2 points. Number 1, if we talk about that Hamas is the culprit of everything. Hamas came into being in 1988 something. 1988 it came into being. But like Israel has captured territories from these countries like in 1948-49 and later on in 1967 war. So it has captured the thing. So Hamas that came into, like Hamas that was born, it was born after all of these things, right? So this is one point that the author made in this article. So Hamas came, like Hamas came after this People Liberation Organization, after the Yasser Arafat. I mean, like Yasser Arafat has started a political faction, and so according to that political faction, they have done a kind of conciliation that, like they were ready for a two-state solution. They were ready for a two-state solution, right? But the thing is that two-state solution, even after being ready, they have signed two Oslo Accords, okay? Two Oslo Accords. They have signed Oslo Accords 1 and Oslo Accord 2. Oslo Accords, okay? They have signed Oslo Accords, means the first accord and the second accord. But the thing is, like, this two-state solution did not work. And these people, Hamas, were not ready, I mean, like, to give up territory to Israel. So this has ever continued, and this time after 50 years of 1973 war, there was another war which is known as Yom Kippur War, right? Yom Kippur War, that has happened in 1973. So after the Yom Kippur War, what has happened? After 50 years of this, Hamas has launched this attack. So they say, like, what is the role of Iran over here? So Iran, they believe that Iran is a country that supports Hamas and that supports what? That supports Palestine cause, that supports Hamas, but there is another group which is known as Hezbollah. So Iran supports Hezbollah also, okay? So what is the role of Iran? Means, like, Iran is, let's say, against Israel at this point of time, against Israel. And also Iran supports whom? Hamas and Hezbollah, like that. It supports both the group. So has Iran been like this all the time? No. There was a time in the history of Iran that, like, there was a time that Iran has given some land to Israelis to do some research and development related to gun and machinery, all those things on the soil of, let's say, Iran. So they had a good tie related to military sharing. But the thing is, after then in Iran came the, I mean, like, came a movement where, let's say, like, the religious people came into power. They came into power. After they came into power, they have made that particular country more conservationist. And since it became more conservationist, I mean, like, so they had very conservative thoughts. So that's why these people were not in favor of, let's say, like, Israel. So they developed closeness with the Muslim Brotherhood, okay? So now at this point of time, Iran is totally, let's say, against this particular thing. But what author says that, like, the neighborhood of Israel, if we talk about this Israel, the neighborhood of Israel is totally hostile to one another. But these people are even not getting support. For example, the Gaza Strip, people who are in the Gaza Strip, they are not getting support from the Muslim Brotherhood. Today there is an article that says Hezbollah has attacked 19 places, locations in Israel in one go. Means, I think, like, Iran is also jumping into the war that is happening. So in this article they have discussed about these things, that initially they have thought of building a new Middle East. I mean, like, there were efforts by the countries. I mean, like, United States of America has taken effort, and under this they have made people sign what? Abraham Accords, okay? They have made people sign Abraham Accords. And the thing is, like, as part of Abraham Accords, many Arab countries, that includes Saudi Arabia also, right? That includes Saudi Arabia. So they have initiated normalizing ties, okay? They have initiated normalizing ties with Israel. They have initiated normalizing ties with Israel. Not only Saudi Arabia, there are many countries, like, who were earlier in warfare with Israel. So they had started normalizing the ties. But recently, after the Hamas attack, this thing has again opened up. So this normalization effort of USA, right, it has taken a back seat. Okay, it has taken a back seat, and now it has widened the rift between Israel and Muslim Brotherhood there. So this is the thing. In this article they have mentioned about this, right? So we will
So like what is the stand of these countries which are surrounded to Israel?
like
Egypt, Syria.
Egypt and these countries, Syria, like they are yet not ready to jump into the war. They are not totally, let's say, like favoring any action of Israel, but they themselves are not jumping into the war. And these people do not have not shown any sympathy towards those people who are being killed in Gaza Strip. But the thing is, if we talk about Lebanon to the north, there we have Hezbollah group. So from there, today it is in news that, like, in Israel, like they have done attacks at 19 different places in one go. Maybe, I mean, like it may flare up also. That's the thing. Okay. So now with this, like, we will move to another article. This article is important. This article says biosphere reserves are evolving as pockets of hope. Okay. Biosphere is fierce. So this particular article is important under environment and ecology. This is important for GS paper 3 of mains exam, and it's also important for the prelims exam. So why it is important? Because, like, we will discuss about this topic in detail, right? We will understand some portion of this topic. What is the name of the topic? It says biosphere reserves are evolving as pockets of hope. To understand this topic, we need to understand what are biosphere reserves, right? First of all, we need to be clear what do we mean by biosphere reserves. Yes. So what do we mean by biosphere reserve?
So it is basically a defined boundary.
Okay, all right. So biosphere reserves are those places, right? These are those places, right, where they have some ecological, let's say, like, sanctity. For example, biosphere reserves can be those places. Here we have, let's say, variety of fauna, we have variety of flora also. Means, like, here we find forest and we find animals. Okay, so flora and fauna, their varieties are found, right? They have their varieties are found. And if we declare a particular place to be a biosphere reserve, so after then we also take protection measures, right? So biosphere reserves are generally declared under UNESCO, like, the what is the full form of UNESCO? United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Okay, so this is the full form of UNESCO. It's a body of United Nations, organization. It's a part of United Nations organization. Under UNESCO, they have, let's say, like, a program which is known as Man and Biosphere program, right? They have a Man and Biosphere program. So in India, there are many, in short it is known as MAB. In India, there are many biosphere reserves that have been adopted under Man and Biosphere program. So these reserves get more protection from India, and also we get a lot of tourists also who visit in these places. So after today's class, you people need to do that, like, you need to identify which biosphere reserves of India are under Man and Biosphere program. Long back there used to be around 10. Under this, there were around 18 total biosphere reserves. 10 of them were under Man and Biosphere program. So we need to identify this. But apart from this, in this article, they have also talked about cold desert biosphere program. Okay, cold desert biosphere reserve. Cold desert biosphere reserve. Okay, they have discussed about cold desert biosphere reserve. So what do we mean by cold desert biosphere reserve? Cold desert means those places that are covered under snow. Since they are covered under snow, so the thing is like there is no water. It's also deserty because of very low temperature. If we have very high temperature, there is no amount of water found. I mean, like, that is hot desert, the Thar desert, and like, Atacama desert, or like, Sahara desert that we have heard about. Cold desert are those places that are totally covered on ice. Means like here also we don't find much trees because of coldness, because of no sunlight and all. So we in India also we do have a cold desert biosphere reserve. It's not the case that there are no trees at all, but there are some trees, right? So cold desert biosphere reserve is located in the northern portion of India. We are going to locate it also. So in this article they have said that biosphere reserves are evolving as pockets of hope. Pockets of hope for what? Basically climate change is happening. What is happening? Climate change is happening and global warming is happening, right? So we see one thing is climate change is happening, and also because of climate change two things is happening, right? One thing is, let's say, global warming, right? One thing is global warming, and this is led by what? This is led by environmental pollution. Environmental pollution is also happening, right? Environmental pollution in various forms. Now if we talk about these biosphere reserves, right, in these biosphere reserve, like they have mentioned some examples of biosphere reserves. For example, one of the biosphere reserve in South Africa, they have mentioned that in that biosphere reserve they do not allow people to carry plastic bags. Okay, so the thing is, if plastic bags are not allowed, what will happen? That place will be plastic free. Okay, and people are drinking water in what? They're drinking water in steel glasses. That's the thing. Okay, they are drinking water in steel glasses. So they are acting as a hope, pockets of hope, because like at least those places are away from plastic pollution. So they have mentioned about plastic pollution also. They have mentioned why global warming is happening, because of release of carbon dioxide, because of release of greenhouse gases. Okay, global warming is happening because of release of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, right? Other greenhouse gases. Okay, these lead to global warming. That's the thing. So in this article they have said that on the second anniversary of the World Biosphere Reserve Day, November 3, it is important to reflect on the progress made in conserving and sustaining conserving and sustainably using these vital ecosystems. So this November 3 is, or 3rd November is celebrated as World Biosphere Reserve Day. World Biosphere Reserve Day. So after this discussion, you need to identify how many biosphere reserves are there in India, how many of them are part of Man and Biosphere program. Man and Biosphere program are part of United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. That's an important thing, okay, because like there may be questions in the prelims exam directly from this topic. All right, so it is important.
Yes.
So with this, we will move to another topic quickly.
So this man and biosphere reserve program is related to what?
It's related to, let's say, conserving the biosphere and also having, let's say, like human like people's participation into it, like common people should participate, and also we allow some kind of tourism activity there.
Wildlife forest reduce.
Yeah, so many things. I mean, like tourism can also happen there. So those things that are under Man and Biosphere program, they get more protection, they get more funding, they get more tourist attention also.
Yes.
So these are the things.
But have you been to any
No.
biosphere reserves so far?
No, not exactly. I mean, some biosphere reserves were in news. One of the biosphere reserve in Sikkim, they have natural, I mean, like under natural site. So that's the thing. Yeah, Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve.
So you have been there?
No. No. So like we will see a question. It says, which of the following are cold desert biosphere reserves? So they have asked about which of the following are cold desert biosphere reserves. They have given many options. D is the correct answer. Pin Valley National Park, Sarchu and Kibber Wildlife Sanctuary are part of the cold desert biosphere reserve. Okay, so in your free time you can locate this. However, we have included a map to showcase where is cold desert biosphere reserve is located. This is cold desert biosphere reserve. Over here these places are there, the places that I have named, and apart from this, these other are biosphere reserve. For example, Kanchenjunga, Manas, Nanda Devi, Dihang Diwang, Dibru Saikwa, Nokrek, Sundarban, Achanakmar, Amarkantak, Panna, Panchmarhi, Kutch. So these are biosphere reserves, right? So this is important. So these are not cold desert, all of them, they are just biosphere reserves. Okay, we have just only one cold desert biosphere reserve. Under it there are many places. Okay, so those things have been asked. Pin Valley National Park is there. Sarchu and Kibber Wildlife Sanctuary are there. Okay, like that. So with this we will move to another topic. This is also part of GS paper 2. Okay, it is part of GS paper 2 and it's part of international relations. Now we are talking about the same issue. Same issue means the issue of Israel-Palestine war. But in this article they have not discussed it from the viewpoint of Israel-Palestine war. They have discussed about the effectiveness of the United Nations system. So in this article they have discussed about that, like, so this article has been written by a kind of person and on the basis of interaction with two diplomats, Vivek Karju and Rakesh Sood. Okay, so we are going to discuss about this topic. All right, so is the United Nations, that's good, is the United Nations
toothless in ending wars?
Yes, toothless in ending wars. So to understand this topic, we need to understand about the genesis of the United Nations system, how the United Nations systems came into being. So the thing is, like, it has a genesis post World War II. So the thing is, initially, like, we have seen World War I. So World War I was fought between countries from 1914 to 1919. Then they have created a body which is known as League of Nations. Okay, they have created a body, League of Nations. What was the work of the body? Its work was to prevent the world from having any other, right? Any other what? World war. But the thing is, the League of Nations failed, right, in stopping any further world war. So the thing is, like, we have seen another world war, which is World War II. And this World War II happened from 1939 to 1944. And after then, right, after World War II, they have created United Nations system. Okay, they have created United Nations system. And since they have created United Nations system, what was the work of the United Nations system? Its work is to stop the world from having any third world war, right? So the thing is, United Nations system has two prominent bodies. One of the bodies is United Nations General Assembly, other body is United Nations Security Council, right? If we talk about United Nations General Assembly, as part of it, they have 194 members. If we talk about United Nations Security Council, it has 5 permanent members. Okay, it has, let's say, like, 5 who are permanent member, and it has 10 they are non-permanent members. So they keep on shifting. So yes, every 2 years. So what is the difference between permanent and non-permanent member? Although all of them have voting right, but the permanent members have veto power. Okay, these permanent members of the United Nations system, they have veto power. Means, like, if a resolution is introduced in the United Nations Security Council, so these 5, any one of these 5 permanent member can veto. So veto in the sense, like, if there is a voting that happens, if a voting happens, so in that voting they can either, let's say, accept accept in the sense like, they can say yes, they can reject it. Reject means they can say no. Third thing is they can abstain, means like, abstain means no voting. Okay, they do not vote, but abstain does not mean they are opposing to it. They reject. Rejection, no, means it means like they are using the veto power. So if any of the permanent member of the United Nations system says no, if they veto any kind of decision, so that resolution will not be passed through the United Nations system. This United Nations Security Council, although United Nations General Assembly is more representative body, it's a more representative body, I mean like it has all the members presence, but the thing is like more power has been given to the United Nations Security Council. Why? Because this United Nations Security Council works on very important matters. One of the work of United Nations Security Council is to stop any further world war. Second thing is like, let's say it can authorize any, let's say like, any military action on any place, like on any country. So to authorize this thing means like, to use force, to allow the usage of force in any country. But the thing is, this United Nations Security Council has proved to be ineffective. Why? Because these 5 permanent members, in this article they have mentioned that this P5, okay, these 5 permanent members, these 5 permanent members are not working in a way that they are representing the entire world. They should work in that manner, because like, if they want to stop any war, if they have any humanitarian viewpoint, so they should work in a manner that like, that further world war does not happen, like, there is peace around the world. But these members are themselves involved in a partisan manner. So they take partisan thing. For example, if we talk about Russia, Russia is a P5 member, but like it is itself involved in Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, it is involved in Russia-Ukraine war. If we talk about the United States of America, USA is not directly involved in other countries' war, but the thing is like it is supporting Israel's stand, right? Israel's stand related to Hamas, and which is leading to killing of huge number of civilians. Means huge number of civilians are getting killed because of, let's say like, USA's stand. USA is totally supporting, not only financially but also by giving military and diplomatically as well. Like USA, many of the secretaries of USA, or I would say like, diplomats of USA are continuously interacting with foreign powers, continuously interacting with foreign parties, so that the foreign parties do not enter into this particular war. So the thing is, these members are working in a partisan manner, and this partisan manner working is something like, which is pushing the world in a backward direction. So that's why there is a demand among different countries that like, we need to reform the United Nations system. And how can we reform the United Nations system? The thing is like, there should be more representation. One thing is like, people have talked about many such reforms, but like today while coming, like I have thought myself a new kind of reform that can be brought, but I'm not sure about this. So one thing is like, they say one of the reform that people propose, United Nations Security Council, people propose that like, this representation of permanent member, I mean P5, like it should be increased. I mean like if there are more countries who are part of it, so it will represent many other countries. But the thing is like, veto power is something, I mean like, which is being misused by most of the countries. Those countries who are P5 members, they are misusing the veto power over here. So in my opinion, veto power should be taken out of these P5 countries, and such resolution should be passed through the United Nations General Assembly. I mean like, United Nations General Assembly should be given this authority of, let's say, allowing any kind of this military operation or not. I mean, in that case, UNGA has more representation of, let's say like, of all the members, and there they can adopt systems like India has in the parliament. Like, for constitutional amendment act, we need, let's say like, 2/3 majority, ratification, those kind of thing can be introduced there in the United Nations General Assembly. So that will make this thing more representative. And the thing is like, wherever like, majority of the country, right, approve something, so that should happen. So it will bring peace into the countries. I mean, like, you know, if there is a willingness of all the members, so the thing is, Israel would not have been continuing the warfare for long. Ceasefire must have been established. But because of, let's say, partisanship of the P5 members, right? So they are not able to implement this particular thing. In my opinion, this power of the United Nations Security Council should be taken away from it, and it should be given to United Nations General Assembly and the UNGA, which is more representative body. There, I mean, like, you know, reforms should be done, new ways of voting, new ways of abstaining, that should be done. I mean, like, you know, that will bring more peace to the world. Because these existing members who have the veto power, they are misusing the veto power for, let's say, for their narrow interest, for promotion of their narrow interest. This is the thing. So in this article, they have talked about that if United Nations is not able to give solution, right, how do we go about it? So in this article, they have you know, talked within the framework of United Nations system. One thing that they have said, that convergence of views among the major powers of the day. Okay, so all the major, if we have, let's say, UNSC system, United Nations Security Council, so one thing is like they need to have convergence of views. Okay, convergence of views. But the thing is, convergence of views is not an easy task, because, like, you know, we see like these countries like Russia, USA or China, they are totally anti to one another. So there is no convergence of views. Second thing is, like, here they have talked about that it must also seek to provide a global public good. I mean, like, you know, they should think of, you know, global good, global betterment for the peace, so that peace can prevail over different countries. So these are the things that have been proposed by these two, like, you know, like these two diplomats. That's the thing. So is India, which is the current chair of G20, in a position to play a mediatory role? See, like, India has had the presidency of G20, and we have just, let's say, like, concluded the summit, and we have given over this particular thing to which country? Brazil, I think. Like, we have given it to Brazil. So the thing is, like, India, although, let's say, like, it has emerged as one of the global powers, but the world that we see now, it is a multilateral world. Earlier, the system that they have evolved in 1945, the United Nations system, that was good for that particular point of time. But now the system, let's say, like, you know, geopolitics around the world has changed. Why it has changed? Because many other countries have also emerged. But, like, this institution has not changed itself. It has not updated itself to that point.
Sir, one thing. Sir, the author has mentioned two terms here: multipolarity and multilateralism. Sir, what is the difference between the two? Multipolar and multilateralism.
So we will understand about this concept also. What do we mean by multipolar and multilateralism? So let's understand here. Okay. Number one is multipolarity. Multipolarity means earlier the world was bipolar. Okay, it was bipolar. In the sense, the power was divided majorly between United States of America and Russia, or let's say we can say Soviet Union. Okay, it was divided between these two major powers, and other countries played very less role because they were not as powerful as these countries. But now, with, let's say, like, you know, with changing time, with passing time, there are many other countries that have emerged. For example, China has emerged as one of the, let's say, powerful country. Like USA has been a powerful country, but it still has power. Russia has emerged as one of the powerful country. Apart from this, India has also emerged in this case. And there are many other countries that have acquired nuclear weapons. There are many countries, let's say, like, you know, so the thing is, at this point of time, the world is not divided into two, like, you know, polar thing. So there are many countries that are playing key role in the international, let's say, like, you know, scenario in geopolitics. So there is multipolarity. But now let us understand about multilateralism. Right? Multilateralism. When we talk about multipolarity, it means those countries that are having power. So number of such countries has increased. Multilateralism means how other countries show their attitude, like which power they want to follow. Means here, I mean, like, when we talk about multilateralism, now many groups has emerged. For example, if we talk about Shanghai Cooperation Organization, if we talk about BRICS, right? If we talk about European Union, if we talk about, let's say, like, G20. So if we talk about ASEAN, so the thing is, many groups has emerged. So like the pockets, these are regional groups. So these groups, I mean, like, every group has a different viewpoint about the world. So the thing is, like, it is known as multilateralism. I mean, like, the world is not going in a single direction. Polarity is related to hard power. Hard power in the sense, the usage of weapons, the amount of money, financial power that the countries have. When we talk about this multilateralism, it is, let's say, a kind of soft power, orientation towards soft power, like in which direction the different countries see the world moving. So this is the thing. So there are minute differences between them, right? But like this way we can understand.
So actually the author has mentioned this thing. So multipolarity without multilateralism only leads to the exercise of force.
Right. If we have multipolarity and not multilateralism, so in that case exercise of force will be there. Multilateralism means like people want to evolve economic power. People want to have, let's say, like, more presence in different arenas. So that's the thing. So like that is mentioned by the author here. So that way we can understand. Then we have another topic. This topic is important. It says understanding the worker productivity. Okay. So we will understand quickly about this topic. What? Worker productivity. So when we talk about worker productivity, we need to divide the worker into two different classes. One class of worker are those workers who are working as labor. Right? Labor means like these people are involved in manual work. So in this case, if their productivity increases, means they have to put, right, they have to put more hours. Okay, they have to put more hours of work. If they put more hours of work, they will be, let's say, like producing more per day. And if we talk about other class of work who are doing sophisticated work, what? Who are doing sophisticated work. And this sophisticated work needs skill. It needs, let's say, it needs skill. It needs, like, let's say, like, education, prior education. It needs these people to be maybe, like, tech savvy. It needs proper nutritional thing to these people. Nutrition is anyhow important for both the group. Okay, proper nutrition. So the thing is, in this case, the productivity is not associated with number of hours that people are working. It depends on the quality of work that they can produce. Generally, people are able to produce more quality work if they are free to think and they are actually working for some amount of time. Okay, so there is a kind of divergence between these two things. And recently, Narayan Murthy, who is the founder of Infosys, he has said that, like, people should work for 70 hours per week, right? People should work for 70 hours per week. Why? So that, like, they can take India to further path of growth. Okay, so that, like, India can rise, India can see economic growth. But, like, in Indian scenario, it may not be fit everywhere. So in this article, although they did not totally outrightly reject the idea, but the thing is, like, they have tried to make a distinction between the productivity of a manual worker and of a person who is involved in the knowledge economy. So they say, in case of knowledge economy, people have to think, right? And so their productivity is, let's say, it is dependent on multiple factors. It's not about number of hours that a person works. So this is what is mentioned in this article. But the thing is, like, what I believe apart from this article, Narayan Murthy, he himself being an entrepreneur, I mean like he has started his business long back, and he has put in so much effort to build his company. So while he was building his company, he has put more than 12 hours per day. If you talk about 70 hours per week, if you divide it by 6, so it is around 11 point some hours, it is around 12 hours. If you divide it by 5, it's more than that, I mean like that. Okay, so he might have put so much effort and he has built an industry. And it is true that if someone wants to, let's say, grow in career, grow in life, they may have to put more hours in initial time, because like that will be a short time period where the effort, okay, if you talk about this is time and this is the effort, right? In short time period one has to put exceptional effort, but after attaining some level, right? So the thing is this time this I mean like effort should like come to a level so that like he can maintain this particular thing. This is what is needed. I mean like it is not wrong also to do 12 hours of work. It depends. Let's say like if it is needed for you, if you think that you are growing in that direction, you can do it the way that UPSC aspirants are doing. So they are, maybe some of them are putting more than 12 hours also, but they are doing it for a certain duration of time, maybe for 1 year, 2 year, till they, let's say, qualify the exam. Once they qualify the exam, after then like it depends on the service conditions. So that way it happens. Okay, but people who are working in corporates, so they do have a corporate cycle, 8 hours, 9 hours per day for 5 days in a week. So if they wish to put 12 hours, so in that case the company itself does not allow. So these are the things. Okay, so this is another topic. It says Supreme Court Collegium proposes new Chief Justices for 3 high courts. So in this article we will discuss about the collegium system. So what is collegium system? In collegium generally 5 to 6, like earlier there used to be 5 senior most judges of the Supreme Court of India. Okay, 5 senior most judges of the Supreme Court of India constitute the collegium. So this includes the Chief Justice of India also. In case of this Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, okay, D.Y. Chandrachud, he has 6 people in the collegium. Okay, he has 6 people including him. So he has recently mentioned in an interview. So this is the thing. So what is the role of this collegium? The role of this collegium is to, let's say, recommend the government to transfer some judges from one high court to another high court, or to elevate a judge, high court judge, to the Chief Justice of the High Court maybe, or to transfer a Chief Justice of High Court to another High Court, or to, let's say, elevate a judge from High Court to the Supreme Court of India, like that. So these are, I would say, like administrative decisions. What? Administrative, yes, decisions like appointment and transfers. Okay, appointment to the High Court or appointment to the Supreme Court, appointment and transfers are taken by the collegium. But the thing is, like, people criticize this particular thing also. They say only 5-6 judges, I mean, like, they decide upon which judge will go where, like who will be appointed. So this is an opaque process. I mean, like, there should be representation of the government person also, government servants. But the thing is, like, judiciary says the judiciary needs to be immune from government interference so that it can discharge its duty, let's say, like without any external let's say pressure. So that's why they need independence, and since they need independence, this collegium system is working. But the thing is, like, while selecting or transferring a judge, they look into many factors. I mean, like, they look into the case history of the judge, they look into the personal sphere of the judge, whether, like, his personal life hampers his decision making capacity in the thing or not. They look into so many files, and then, let's say, collectively they decide that this person can be appointed there. So recently there was let's say a kind of, I would say, India Today conclave happened, right? In that conclave, the Chief Justice of India has participated. He has, let's say, clarified what is the role of the collegium and how they maintain impartiality in the collegium, how they maintain transparency within the collegium system itself.
Yes.
So all the judges know who is being appointed in the collegium, and not only the judges, I mean, like, everybody knows, but they are the ones who take the decision related to this, and while taking decision also they follow many I mean, like, practices and a standard procedure they follow. So recently they have decided to, let's say, like, appoint 3 new chief justices to the High Court of Uttarakhand, Odisha and Meghalaya. So related to this, I mean, like, it is not important for us to remember the name of the judges, but we need to understand about what is collegium. Okay, collegium. So it is important for PT, maybe for mains also, like, this is just a relative knowledge. Now this is another topic, it is related to international relations. It's part of GS paper 2, GS2. It says Antony Blinken, like Llyod Austin, to visit New Delhi next week for 2+2 dialogue. Now 2+2 means 2 persons will come from the United States of America and 2 persons will be there from India. Who are the 2 persons from USA? One person is Secretary of State, okay, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Secretary of State means the foreign minister. In India we have S. Jayashankar, who is the foreign minister. His counterpart is Antony Blinken. If we talk about the other person who is going to come, right, so it is Llyod Austin. He is the Defense Secretary. Defense Secretary means Defense Minister. Foreign Secretary means Secretary of State means Foreign Minister, like that, External Affairs. So in case of India, S. Jayashankar is the Foreign Minister and the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. So they are going to meet these people and they are going to discuss about many things. So it is being expected that these people will also have a discussion related to Israel-Hamas war that is happening.
Canada.
Yeah. So
Khalistan issue.
yeah, maybe. So they will discuss about that issue also. They will discuss about this Canada related thing. They will discuss about that thing. So it's a kind of that kind of discussion that is going to happen. In this article, although they have discussed many things, so they are not that important. They have just discussed about this particular thing. I mean, like, here they have mentioned about Mohammad Moizu, like he is the president-elect of Maldives, right? And then so they will be negotiating on security of supply arrangement and the reciprocal defense procurement agreement. So this is one of the agreement that is there between USA and India. They will discuss about this thing also. And since both India and US are part of quadrilateral security dialogue, maybe they will discuss about it. They will discuss about this Indo-Pacific region as well. So a lot of issues are there that South China Sea. So they are going to discuss on this thing. Now we have another article, like President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. So like he has waged a war against Ukraine, right? So Putin signs bill revoking Russia's ratification of global nuclear treaty. So means what they have done, they have revoked their like nuclear treaty. Means like there is a comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty, okay? So this is known as Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. It is also known as NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. So the thing is, like, Russia has just revoked itself, that we are not party to it. Earlier, like USA has not signed also, it has not ratified also. Russia had signed but not ratified. But the thing is, like, it has revoked its ratification. I think like they might have ratified, but it has revoked it. Why they have revoked it? They have given one statement that, like, we want to be equal to USA. Since USA has not signed, ratified, so they are not bound by this particular treaty, and that's why we also don't want to bound ourselves for it. So that's why they are going to mirror the USA. They have said, I mean, like, they want to mirror the USA. This is the thing. Yeah. So they have taken a unilateral decision related to this. Now we have another article. It says comprehensive, this is, I mean, like, carbon border this tax. This is known as US Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. So what happens in European Union is that, like, European Union itself has a very stringent regulation related to pollution causing industries. I mean, like, they do not allow those industries to function, and even if they allow, so they allow under supervision, huge amount of supervision and regulation. But at the same time, European Union does not want to encourage other countries, let's say, like, who have produced something by emitting huge amount of carbon, to send, I mean, like, to sell those goods in the European Union. So those countries that have, let's say, emitted carbon while producing those goods, if they want to sell their goods in European Union, so they will have to pay tax at the border itself. This is known as carbon tax, and they have named it as Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. Okay, this is what the European Union has done. So recently, like, this Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal, so he was interacting with, let's say, the industry, and he has said that the European Union, they have applied this Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. So auto industry will go out of them, because, like, they will find themselves unviable to do the business, because they will have to pay huge amount of taxes. So since India does not have those stringent mechanism, so that's why auto industry may flourish in India. So he has talked about that how Indian industries may flourish, because, like, we are not applying these kind of carbon border adjustment mechanism. Okay, so India may levy, carbon tax. So there is a difference between this one. Carbon border adjustment mechanism means there is a European Union, other countries are producing some goods, they are emitting the carbon. If they want to export their goods in European Union, so European Union is going to apply taxes on them. They do have their internal regulation for internal industry. In case of India, we have not applied those carbon border adjustment mechanism, but those industries that are working in India, we may apply carbon tax on them, okay, on them. So carbon tax may be applied on directly on those industries that are involved in it, and it may be applied also, right, on those goods, right, that are carbon intensive. For example, like, we will solve a question and then we will understand. Consider these statements about carbon tax. It is only paid by industries that produce carbon dioxide. Only paid by industries. Okay, this is wrong. Industries means those big units that produce goods. There can be businesses also. I mean, like, industries working at a very big level. Businesses are working maybe at a smaller level. So it may be applied on businesses as well. Okay, this is the thing. Taxes on greenhouse gas emission. Taxes on greenhouse gas emission is only based on the quantity of an entity produces. So this is wrong. So both these statements are wrong. Why it is not only quantity?
Sir, it would be other mechanism as well.
Right. So the first statement, it says carbon tax is paid by businesses and industries that produce carbon dioxide. So that's why the first is right. First was wrong. And second is, taxes on greenhouse gases come into two broad forms. One is an emission tax, which is based on quantity and entity produces. Second is a tax on goods and services that are generally greenhouse gas intensive. One thing is, like, an industry that is producing it, that industry will be taxed. Other is those goods, for example, like you have a AC, right? 3-star AC, 5-star AC. 5-star AC means they are more power saving, but 3-star AC may be lesser power saving. And if those ACs that are producing more greenhouse gases, they will be taxed more. So goods based tax will be there. So in the market, it will be taxed higher. Consumers will find, yeah, right. Consumers will find it expensive to purchase that. Goods or services, like, that are carbon intensive, they may be taxed. And emission tax will be applied on the industries. So this is the thing. Now this is another article. This is going to be the last article for the day. It seeks Supreme Court seeks data on donations through electoral bonds. Okay, reserves verdict on the scheme. So we have earlier discussed what are electoral bonds. So the central government has come up with an scheme in 2018 that allowed people to purchase electoral bonds. Why do they purchase electoral bond? To donate money to political parties. Okay, so the thing is, those people who want to donate to political parties, since they are donating to specific political parties, in India we have huge number of political parties. The dominant ones are, let's say, like BJP and Congress. BJP means, like, if someone is donating to BJP, he does not want himself to be identified by the Congress party. If he's donating to Congress people, they don't want to be identified by BJP people. So that's why they have made it anonymous. But it has been noticed, right, by many people that, like, this may lead to a kind of, so it has been noticed that more than 95% of the funds come to just one party. Okay, so it is coming to one party. So people have alleged that it may lead to a kind of quid pro quo situation. Means, let's say there is one party that is receiving huge amount of funding. Maybe this party may have, let's say, passed some policies, the policies that support those businesses thing. So that's why, I mean, like, it is like, they have helped the businesses and the businesses are helping them. So it's kind quid pro quo, give and take thing. Okay, nexus between them. Second thing is, like, the political parties may have made some promises that, like, you make us funding and we are going to do this thing in future. So that's why recently the Supreme Court of India has said they want data. Okay, Supreme Court seeks data on donation through electoral bonds. They want to know, like, how much funding came to which party, and then they are going to take a decision on it. As of now, they have reserved their decision. They have heard both the parties. They have not given a verdict. They will check the data and maybe at a later date they will, let's say, give a verdict on this. Okay, so there are many things related to electoral bonds, but we'll discuss it maybe some other day. This topic will come in news again.
Yes.
So that's all for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. So